And hey guys, so got some good news. I finally got an actual hilt for my lightsaber. So this is from the Custom Saber Shop. All of these pieces are. So we have the blade holder, the main body, which has a hole milled into it for the switch. And then we have the pommel, which has holes in the bottom for if I ever put a soundboard in it. Here is my old handle. This is just a PVC pipe that I wrapped in aluminum tape. So what I'm going to do is I have to unsolder the switch here, and then I'm going to take all these parts out, talk about them a little bit to try and help give you guys a little bit more insight into my lightsaber, and then put everything into here. So some supplies I have a craft knife. This is from Punished Props. Thank you so very much. I love your stuff. And I have this so I can cut the heat shrink tubing off of here. I have solder from Radio Shack. Tells you how old this is. I have some foam to wrap my heat sink in so that it'll fit snugly in there. I have my soldering iron and a plate with a wet paper towel on it because I don't have an actual soldering iron stand. I have my heat shrink tubing and some scissors. Alright, so let's get started with cutting the heat shrink off of here very carefully so I don't cut my hand. Okay, so I'm going to pull that off as best I can and then just cut it off with some scissors. Alright, so I just want to get the heat shrink off enough for me to be able to get to the solder right there so I can undo it. So now to do the other one. So what I'm going to do next is unsolder these, and then I will pull everything out and show you all the parts. I did not do a very good job of soldering this the first time, so I am happy that I will be able to resolder it now. So here are all of the parts. Yes, I know my wires are both black. That was because I did not order wires when I bought these, so I just used what I had at home, and I could not find red in this size. I only found red in bigger size and I didn't want to use that, so that's why this one has a little piece of white tape on it, because that one is my ground. Okay, so this right here is the lens, and then the black piece is the lens holder, so these are two separate pieces. So this is my LED. This is a Luxon Rebel Star LED from the Custom Saber Shop. So right here is the LED. It is a white LED because I have color discs so I can change the color of my lightsaber. So this copper piece on here is my heat sink. What the heat sink does is it draws the heat away from the LED so that the LED doesn't risk overheating and burning itself out. So then the way these all work is the LED sits against the heatsink, the lens sits on top of the LED like that, and then these all get screwed into this piece, and this piece holds everything snugly together and then sits inside of the lightsaber. So moving on, so these are the two leads that I just unsoldered, and these go to my switch. So this is my switch. It is a guarded latching switch. Latching means that when you push it, it actually will stay on or off and you don't have to hold it like a monetary switch. These two pieces are a nut and washer that hold the switch to the lightsaber. So moving on down, we have a resistor, and it just helps control the power coming from your batteries going to the LED so that you don't overheat the LED or give it too much power and burn it out. So here's the battery pack. It is 4 AAAs, and it is what powers the lightsaber. So that is all of the pieces, all of the parts that make up my lightsaber, make up the internal parts of it, what power it. So next what I'm going to do is put all of these in the new hilt and solder the switch back on. So what I'm going to do first is trim these because these are a little gnarly, a little gross. So I'm going to get some wire cutters and wire strippers and clean these ends up. So I just cut off those ends and then I strip the wire casing off so I can get access to the wire on the inside so I can solder it. And then I just twisted the ends together so that they are a little neater, a little prettier. So now I'm going to put the nut on and then the washer. And then the hard part, I have to get both of these through here. This is a lot easier when you do it the first time because you can leave these wires as long as you need. So now what I'm going to do is get my heat shrink tubing, cut a little section, put that on each one, and then solder my switch back on. Alright, so what I'm going to do first is pre-tin the wires, which just means put a little bit of solder on the wires to make soldering it together easier. So I'm just going to find the hot spot, put a little bit on there. This does create some smoke, so I would suggest making sure you are in a well-ventilated area. My soldering pen's a little old, it's a lot dirty and needs a good cleaning, so it's kind of hard to use. I do have to find a hot spot on it, and then I can solder. So it takes a little bit of finagling. And there's one side on. So now to do the other side. There we go. Alright, so that is soldered back on. So I'm going to do first is get some AAA batteries and put them in and see if it works. So I'll be right back. Alright, so I got my batteries. Let's plug them in and see if I did this right. Yep, it works. Alright, so that is that. So now I'm going to put everything back together. Oh, I have to do my heat shrink tubing. The heat shrink helps protect your soldering and also prevents it from short circuiting. So for heat shrink, you can either use a heat gun on it or just use your soldering iron, just like that. Very carefully so you don't burn your fingers. If you don't have heat shrink, you can also use hot glue. So now I'm going to slide that in. Alright, so that's all the way in now. So now, gotta slide the nut and washer on and then tighten them down. There we go. So now my switch is in. And now I need to put my lens and heatsink back on here. There we go. Alright, so what I'm going to do is put a little bit of foam around here so that it'll sit right here. So I got my foam. I'm just going to cut a small strip that will fit around my heatsink. Alright, and then we'll see how that fits in there very nicely. Alright, so to avoid twisting the wires too much when I put the blade emitter on, I'm going to twist them the opposite way, which is of course the same way that that screws. Alright, now I'm going to put my foam on there, slide this in there, and then push this down and twist it on and hope for the best. There we go. Looks good. So now I'm going to grab my batteries again. Pop them in. And then slide that all in there. It's still works. Slide this in there and put my pommel on. Alright, so with that, my new lightsaber hilt is done. It still works. Looks very, very sleek. I am very happy with it. And the nice thing is I do have another blade holder and pommel. So if I ever want to change these out for a different look, I can. Just like that. Ta-da! So I will link the Custom Saber Shop below, which is where all of these parts are from. I will also link the Custom Saber Shop's tutorial below, because they have a tutorial for how to make this basic lightsaber, and that is the tutorial I used. So let me know if you have any questions, comments, concerns in the comments below, and I will see you guys next video.